Caroline, thanks for joining us. It's my privilege and honor to interview you today and chat with you. Not only do I consider you a very good friend, but somebody I look up to, somebody who I just think the world of, and I view as a five-tool player, as they say in baseball. You are breaking glass ceilings. Congratulations on being the first woman elected to the firm's facilitation committee. We're very proud to have you, and I look forward to working with you for years to come. And I know that we'll accomplish a lot of great things at the firm.
Thank you, Joe.
So, Caroline, you have just your hard work and tenacity and dedication. What makes you tick?
I like helping people. I like being of service to people. And for me, I just never rest on my laurels. So I think I just am propelled by an inner drive and passion to be the best at what I do and really to help others, which is why I chose a career.
So let's talk about your beautiful family. I know it's something that always brings a smile to your face. TJ, your two beautiful children. I know Julia just celebrated a big birthday.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little about your family and the support they give you as you continue to accomplish great things and all the great things you do for them.
So my daughter just turned 20 yesterday. Julia, she's in college. She's a junior and she's blazing her own trail. But one thing I think about when I think of Julia is I had her my first year of practice. So I don't know what it's like to be a lawyer and not be a mother at the same time. I've always had to maintain that balance. And I would have never been able to maintain that balance without the help of my dedicated husband, TJ, who himself is a fellow Buffalonian. And TJ supports me 100% every day. He asks how he can help me and takes a lot off my plate and is completely supportive. Our son Connor just turned 14 in June and has started high school. He's got an incredible sense of humor. But for me, it's my family that brings me joy each and every day. And although sometimes I'm not there for every single thing they do, I always say it's about the quality of the time we spend together.
Why don't you give us a little background on your career path, how you got here, and give us that unique perspective that you have regarding your in-house role.
So I initially started at a mid-sized law firm in Monmouth County, New Jersey. I was a summer associate at that firm, and I was placed, believe it or not, in the corporate and securities department. And anyone who knows me knows I am not a big fan of math. I took computer science in college to avoid or to fulfill the math requirement, but not take a real math class. And one day, the employment and labor group was combined with corporate and securities. And as a first year, I went to my boss at the time and said, hey, I'd really like to devote my focus to employment and labor. I had externed at the EEOC when I was in law school, and it was an interest of mine. And so he said, sure, let's give it a shot. I stayed there about 3 years, and then I relocated within the state. Started with a large national firm in their employment and labor practice. I was there about 7 years and had developed a really good relationship with a long-term care company that I did both employment work for, and the firm handled long-term care litigation. And I developed a passion for working with healthcare companies while I was at that firm, and an opportunity presented itself for me to go in-house for that organization to oversee all of their litigation and to also help with their human resources department. So I had been a partner at my prior firm, I guess about 2 years. I went in-house. People thought I was crazy because I was at the top of my game. I had quite a book of business, and they were very intrigued as to why, while I was on an upward trajectory, why on earth would you go in-house for a company? As I explained, I had always had a desire to be at an organization to see where the widgets get made, how they get made, to be able to see on a day-to-day basis how the advice I give gets translated, and also to work day-to-day with human resources and to get a deeper understanding of things and really a deeper understanding of that industry. So I traded in my 15-minute commute for an hour-long commute. This was located, the building, at the foot of the George Washington Bridge, if you could imagine that. And I had 2 young children at the time. I logged a lot of miles, but it was an absolutely fantastic experience to really day in and day out see how a company runs, particularly in a very highly regulated industry. And I really expanded my legal tool set. Was able to help make some critical decisions for the organization. So went way beyond my litigation skill set. That's when I also started being asked to speak at conferences and organizations. I'm on the speaking circuit quite a bit now, but when you're in-house, everybody wants you to be on their panel. So that's when that started. But when I was there, I started to miss the camaraderie of a law firm, the being able to run down the hallway and talk about a summary judgment motion that you had just briefed. When you're in-house, depending on where you are, you may not be as involved in the day-to-day litigation of things because you're more at a higher level, but again, very dependent on the in-house environment. And honestly, the commute was wearing on me just a little bit. My mother had had a serious health issue, and I wanted to be closer to home as well. So when I decided, what am I going to do next, I looked both at in-house positions as well as returning to a law firm. And I decided to pursue going back to a law firm. But it was a little bit daunting because I had left my entire book of business when I went in-house. So, you know, here I am starting from scratch all over again, kind of like being at the bottom of the hill, ready to roll that rock back up. This time it was more like a huge boulder, actually. And I worked with a recruiter who said, I have the perfect firm for you, Goldberg Segalla. And I said, gee, I haven't heard of that firm, quite honestly. So I got to learn more about the firm, spoke with folks here, and I immediately was just enamored with the philosophy of the firm, the teamwork approach of the firm, the entrepreneurial spirit. That's something that drives me, is the ability to create something and build something. And what the firm saw in me was to build out the employment and labor practice group, as well as develop the healthcare practice here. So I knew that when I switched, I wanted to be able to make a mark somewhere. But again, I had to have a willing partner on the other side who was going to take a chance on me, because here I am walking in, hi, I have no business, but I know how to build it, and I'm a really good person and a great lawyer. And it just really was the perfect marriage at that point in time.
So in your 8 years here, what's one thing that you'd say hasn't changed since day one?
I would say, you know, who we are, our culture, and the entrepreneurial spirit. That is something that really drives the firm. I think it's the gas in the tank. We just have such amazing attorneys, staff here as well, but everyone's always rowing in the same direction, and we develop new things here, different practice areas, and just creative solutions. So I think that's something that really has not changed. In fact, I think it's become more prevalent in the 8 years that I've been here.
So Caroline, we could have a laundry list here, but I'm going to ask you to choose one. What would you say your biggest success or achievement in those 8 years would be here at Goldberg Segalla?
That's a difficult question.
I said laundry list.
I would probably say the growth of our employment and labor practice. When I first came here, it was a small group, primarily based upstate, maybe about 7 folks, and we have built a national bi-coastal practice that keeps on going.
Let's dive into Caroline Berdzik as a person a little bit. And Caroline, what's something that surprised you as being a lawyer?
I think the fact about how much you really need to understand business, that's something, at least when I went to law school back in the day, that was not taught to attorneys. That really, if you want to advance as a lawyer, you need to have a good idea about how businesses operate, business in general, and also the importance of marketing.
Caroline, tell us something about you that we don't know.
Oh boy. Something about me that you don't know.
That was Neil and Tom's response too, so just that seems to be one that
I feel like I'm an open book though. Let's see. Well, I have met, how many presidents? Met President Ford. I met the first President Bush and two former First Ladies, Hillary Clinton, and she was also a senator, and Barbara Bush. And that's a result of my college experience. I went to Drew University. I was a political science major, and the president of our school at that time was former Governor Tom Kean, who was one of the co-chairs of the 9/11 Commission. So being a small liberal arts school and being able to, as a senior, take his class governing a state, which he taught about 15 seniors, pretty amazing. He had a lot of connections, and we had a lot of wonderful people come to campus. And, you know, looking back on it, you just realize how tremendous, you know, of an opportunity that was. I don't think there's too many people. I know you've met some presidents, I believe.
A couple, so yeah.
Just a few.
Caroline, you're very well traveled.
Yes.
Where is your favorite place you have visited in the world?
That is a difficult one. Paris always has an affinity for me. I was a French political science double major in college, and when I was in high school, I had someone stay with my family for 3 weeks when I was a sophomore. Our French teacher knew another French teacher in the south of France, and so she invited me to stay with her family for 3 weeks in the south of France. Now, my parents, we never traveled really when I was younger. I had never been on a plane. At 16 years old, I got on a plane. My parents saved up money to send me probably the best gift they ever gave me, and flew halfway across the world and lived with a strange family speaking a strange language for 3 weeks in 1990. I remember the Gulf War, the first one, broke out when I was there, before iPhones, before all those things, and then found my way back on the plane to head back. So I think that's why France holds a special place in my heart, and I don't think there's really any bad place in France, but I just love Europe in general.
What would today's Caroline tell law school Caroline?
Oh boy. I would say not to be so hard on yourself, you know, have some more fun. You know, I was quite a serious student, which of course is important, but maybe being hard on myself is what drives me. But probably that's what I would tell law school Caroline.
Okay, we have 2 questions left. How do you hope you're described by people when you're not around?
I hope I'm described by people as someone who brings out the best in others and makes people feel good about themselves.
And that's you certainly do both of those, and you're that's as true can be. Last question. Here we go. We made it through, Caroline. I know you don't get many of these, but what's your favorite way to spend a day off?
Well, I probably wouldn't be able to travel somewhere exotic in that day, because it would involve almost a full day of travel. But if it's the summer, if I'm sitting in the backyard by my pool or on my float, reading a book and hanging out with my family, and just very simple. Yeah, that's how I like to kind of relax and blow off some steam.
So Caroline, we made it through. Once again, congratulations on everything. We look forward to working with you on the facilitation committee, and keep up the great work with your practice and being the wonderful person you are. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Joe.